Hi from outside a movie theater. I'm going to recommend you some Halloween appropriate stuff because my video essay spent 2 hours talking about something Halloweeny that wasn't that good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about those things and we're going to like them. I am recording this as the video essay is about to come out. There's a notification saying it's 30 minutes away. I want some Tex-Mex. The thing is, I want good Tex-Mex, so we're gonna call the place that's not literally an eyesight of me right now, we're gonna call the good one. 1 second. Could I get an order of chicken on the beach? And then could also get a small cheese sauce? Thank you so much. Have a good one. Order placed. Let's get the camera set up and start driving. As we pass our first vape shop of the trip, I will say, as far as content warnings are concerned, I tried to stay away from anything particularly rough or not. I'm not recommending a record of sweet murder or anything like that. Even though I think A Record of Sweet Murder is a pretty good horror movie, it does have some stuff in there that's... yeah. We will also note in this recording, the camera is suction cupped to a window out of my view. It is not obstructing anything. I've seen GPS setups with more obstructed windshield real estate. Both hands on the steering wheel. I don't need to hold my phone and look directly at it while driving to talk about K-pop demon hunters. Not that anyone would do that. No one would endanger people over K-pop demon hunters. Fear-mongering, right? I'm gonna try and get weird, funky stuff, or at least things that are a little more off the beaten path than, say, Friday the 13th. Sorry, I'm not gonna bust out Over the Garden Wall is peak autumnal entertainment in my TV section. You're here, you probably already know Over the Garden Wall is peak autumnal entertainment. If you don't, go watch it. Just know that the DVD costs $9 retail. TikTokers are gonna try to sell it to you for at least $15 minimum. Don't listen to them. They piss me off. To keep things interesting, I'm going to recommend 3 items from 4 different mediums. And for fun, I'm going to mix them all together so we don't get stuck in the monotony of 3 movies, 3 games, 3 TV shows, and 3 podcasts. Let's go. We're starting with the Shudder original Deadstream. POV, you're in the passenger seat while I tell you why Deadstream is awesome. It is awesome, but I think voice over me can do that at higher audio quality than I currently am.
This is Sean Ruddy coming to you live from Death Manor.
Sean is a disgraced white guy YouTuber who wants to return to the spotlight. His plan to uncancel himself involves going to Death Manor, a notoriously haunted house. Once he's there, he disposes of his car's spark plugs and keys, trapping himself overnight, all while live streaming the entire thing.
Oh, come on, that doesn't even look real. I'm not falling for this Photoshop hack job.
Now, I rolled my eyes at this horror comedy concept when I first heard of it. Horror, as a genre, if you step out of the realm of good writers, shout out to Chucky for becoming the most progressive slasher franchise for seemingly no reason other than the people writing it aren't assholes.
I have a queer kid.
You have a kid?
Gender fluid.
And you're cool with it?
I'm not a monster, Jake.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Things can get real Joe Rogan-y in the horror world, and you can't say that these days. Stench starts to fill the room. Take it from me, Deadstream does not fall into that trap. Sean is a loser, and his cancellation was not only justified, even he knows it was. The secret to a good horror comedy is genuinely loving horror. The second you get snarky with it, comedy flies right out the window, and Deadstream delivers that in spades. I won't spoil anything from the movie itself, but I do just want to say the behind-the-scenes features on this are awesome, including footage of how they made Death Manor work as a movie set. They legitimately bought a spooky house, ripped it down to studs, and rebuilt the interior to look decrepit and scary without it actually being dangerous for the crew. What We Do in the Shadows. Rest in peace to a real one. For those who haven't seen it yet, and if you haven't, I'm thoroughly jealous you get to watch it. What We Do in the Shadows is an American TV spin-off of the 2014 Taika Waititi comedy of the same name. It's framed as a documentary with a camera crew following around 4 vampire roommates and their sole familiar Guillermo. Spoiler alert, Guillermo is directly related to Van Helsing, so he's funny, fat, queer, and also kicks ass. I'm going to use the following excuse, and please note that I do this with extreme care because I hate when other people do it. The first episode is not indicative of what makes the show great, so season 1 is a bit of a growing process. In the beginning, the show doesn't necessarily know what it wants to be. At the very beginning, it feels like a bastardized clone of the movie.
I wanted to have a quick chat about flat responsibilities because, guys, I think that we're not all pulling our weight here. We're not just pointing the finger at you, Deacon. You're a cool guy, but you're not pulling your weight in the flat.
Finish a whole victim before moving on to a next one, okay? It's very unhygienic. I think I know who's leaving them down there, but I don't want to say.
If you've got something to say, then damn well say it.
It's not hygienic!
Luckily, while the writing team found their feet and came to fully understand the characters, the main cast is nothing but bangers who keep the show afloat almost through sheer charm. Matt Berry and Natasha Dimitriou have amazing chemistry as a thoroughly oversexed polyamorous married vampire couple.
Get a good look at this! Wow!
Holy shit!
Sorry, Laszlo, but you know it's his last night.
I don't care.
Who amplify each other's personalities in a way that is usually not positive, but fun for them.
But she was gripping the window and she was clawing at the glass. I was hypnotized,
I used hypnosis on him.
which I found out later. Anyway, obviously I invited her in. We were about to make love when she turned into this hideous, leathery bat thing. She drained me of my blood, giving me the curse of eternal life, and thus making me a bloodthirsty creature of the night.
Kevin Novak, who British viewers will remember from his viral success in the 2000s as the prank call comedian The Phone Jacker.
So you are the phone jacker.
I am the phone jacker.
How do we know it is really you?
You don't know it's really me. No, you do.
If you don't do Terry Tibbs, you're not the phone jacker.
I'll do Terry for you now.
Can we have the
Suck who I am, talk to me.
Absolutely steals the show as Nandor the Relentless, an ancient vampire who was a fierce warlord. Nandor's personality stems from finding being a mini Genghis Khan did not prepare him for the loneliness that eternity brings. Novak's abilities as a voice actor are used very well in What We Do in the Shadows, both because he's doing a voice the entire time, but also there's an episode where they do body swapping and it allows him to actually do imitations of all the other cast members, and it is amazing.
There's a technique called negging that I'm eager to try. I'd explain it to you, but you're probably too naive to understand it.
How do I look? Never mind. Your opinion doesn't matter. And now you're horny because you just got negged again.
Then there's Guillermo de la Cruz, played by Harvey Guillen, who is Nandor's familiar, doing chores for the entire vampire crew under the promise that one day Nandor will make him a vampire.
He's made a lot of comments recently like, I'm going to make you a vampire. This is a little coffin toy that I hope to be in one of these one day.
Oh, actually, I almost forgot. There's also Colin Robinson, played by Mark Proch, an energy vampire who feeds by making people feel strong negative emotions or extreme boredom. It's a rare example when an ensemble sitcom has a cast where you never roll your eyes when you realize it's a Nandor episode or a Nadja episode. They're all bangers, to the point where you might misremember B-plots of certain episodes as being the main focus, because even when the characters who aren't being focused on are doing stuff, they're just that funny. That, combined with a rotating cast of all-time greats like Doug Jones, Alexander Skarsgård, Vanessa Bayer, Benedict Wong, Haley Joel Osment, Nick Kroll, Mark Hamill, Tim Heidecker, Christian Schall, that's just me intentionally not including episodes that cram themselves with celebrity cameos, by the way. The show is infinitely quotable, sexy, creative. You've seen at least one What We Do in the Shadow meme in the past 5 years, whether you know it or not.
Have you gone soft, my sweet sitter pie?
No, my sweet sitter pie, I've gone hard. Because he's my best friend, he's my pal. He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
Trust me, gay is in, gay is hot. I want some gay, gay it's gonna be.
You really are the most devious bastard in New York City.
All right, let's kick off the game section with a funky, weird one. Dishwashing Simulator is, to quote the store page, a short, unique survival farming base building tycoon horror game where you must survive through washing dishes. Translating that for people who aren't as hyper-fixated on one niche gaming genre as I am, Dishwashing Simulator is a satire of several different genres of indie games that indie developers tend to gravitate towards because they're easy to make and sell well. And developer Frankie clearly enjoys a good slop air quote simulator game like I do. The game loop is simple. You wake up in a room, dirty dishes fall from the ceiling, you gotta wash them and throw them down an ominous hole in the middle of the room. The process is fully manual at the start, but once you collect enough currency, you can upgrade your tools until, by the end, you have a fully automated dishwashing factory. Just one problem. You gotta take the elevator to go collect things that'll get you better gear. And the elevator goes to procedurally generated dungeons that are full of things you want to bring back up the elevator. Sure would be a shame if in those dungeons there were various anomalies you have to run, hide, and learn to survive. Ah, damn it. Brimstone Valley Mall. Holy crap, this podcast rocks. And I get to be an old head and brag that I listened to the first episode early because I was there when this shit happened, man.
Hey, this is Hornblast, lead singer of Mall Rat. Miss Rock, as Mariah, Spills, Gore, and I aren't home, so leave us a message. None of us are demons, by the way. Definitely not from hell. Okay, cool. You know what to do.
The year is 1999. 5 demons who aren't quite the best at being demons are killing time trying to get people to sin at a suburban mall. The crew is set to be the band at a big celebration in hell, except their lead singer goes missing. The gang only has 2 weeks to find him and not piss off literal Satan. The phenomenal Kristen DiMercurio directed, produced, and wrote this magnificent 2-season show long before she was known as the Bluetooth Lady on TikTok.
Hi, I'm a voice actor. You've probably heard me somewhere in the world, Bluetooth connected.
Honestly, if you're not super experienced with the world of audio fiction and fiction podcasting, you can go back to the good old days of the 2010s by listening to Brimstone Valley Mall and then use the cast as a way to spiderweb out and look at all the projects that were being developed at the time. Starting with DiMercurio, sound designers Misha Stanton, Jeffrey Niels Gardner alone will take you to a wide swath of acclaimed audio drama from the past 20 years. Woe is the phone that tries to open up all of the credits of supplemental voice actor Josh Rubino at once. He gets around.
I'm even in this video.
Even outside of the context of it being made by a group of truly skilled people, Brimstone Valley Mall brings the energy of a punky 90s comedy set in a mall in a way where it actually feels authentic to that vibe. It's not a podcast that's trying to seem like a 90s comedy. It is like that. It would fit perfectly well on a shelf right next to Mallrats. We're back to our second movie. This first bit is going to be spoiler-free, and when we get to a little section, we're going to talk to the meta-reality of the movie for those who want to know what actually it is. But I will clearly signpost when that's going to happen, so don't reach for your remote just yet. The WNUF Halloween special.
You're watching the WNUF Halloween special.
Is a digitized recording of a VHS tape that happened to be recording the New England local news affiliate WNUF on Halloween night in 1987. When the tape starts, it catches the tail end of the evening news before leading into the intended program, a live seance conducted at a local haunted house. Just one catch: the reporter hosting it cannot be bothered to pretend he cares about ghosts.
Hello, Gavin. I can hear you loud and clear, partner. God, hell, you are loud. Just might raise the dead, which is what we might be doing tonight, huh?
Yeah! What follows is a horror comedy that leans heavily on the comedy, with moments of great ghost hunting tension cut short with hilarious late 80s local commercials.
I'm Frank Stewart. We'll be right back. Okay, all right. Right, relax. Come on.
12 seconds later.
Summer may be over, but the fun doesn't have to be. The ocean is open all year round. Avalon Beach Rentals is now offering rates far more affordable than the crowded summer months. Come and check out our mini attractions. The haunted house on Perry Pier makes a great Halloween haunt.
There's even a local dentist offering a candy buyback program to encourage kids not to rot their teeth. This is a really good watch. I'm tempted to set up a screening with friends every year, and I have been tempted to do so since 2013. I'm sure quite a few friends watching are sick of hearing me talk about WNUF. Well, it's time to talk about WNUF more, so skip to the time code on the screen or skip to the end of the chapter that's about to start if you want to keep yourself pristine. It's coming. It's time to talk about the WNUF Halloween special. Okay, so clearly this is a 2013 indie movie dressing itself up to look like a recorded VHS tape. I would argue, as much as I love WNUF, they get a little heavy-handed with the intentional artifacting to make it look like VHS. But when it first came out through a small horror distributor, I know I kept getting big pamphlets in the mail telling me everything that they sold, including a lot of pornography. The distributor offered a VHS version of WNUF, which frankly I kinda would like, but I'm not gonna pay collector prices for. I have the special edition Blu-ray that comes with this awesome sleeve that makes it look like it's festooned in ads WNUF would have printed in the local paper the night of the seance, which I think is just a cool as hell detail. And it even has an audio drama you can pick up on Bandcamp, presented in universe as a vinyl WNUF distributed, in which Frank investigates a haunted roller derby, and the couple from the seance, which I think canonically happens the next year, show up to talk to the ghosts. It's incredibly cheesy, but good Halloweeny fun. Consider it good bonus podcast recommendation. I've certainly recommended a lot of comedy horror doing this, so let's talk about actual horror. The Terror is an anthology series where the premise is each season they will adapt a story where the idea of terror is at its core. I'm going to talk exclusively about the first season, partially because I haven't seen the second season, and partially because the first season scratches an itch I rarely see scratched: Arctic horror.
As a trusted friend once put it, this place wants us dead. What could have done that? There must be a bear.
And that's coming from someone who has this painting, The Sea of Ice by Caspar David Friedrich, over their desk. The Terror is based off the real-life Franklin expedition, in which the ships Erebus and Terror were tasked with traversing the ice of the Arctic to find the Northwest Passage, a rumored water route that would allow traders from England to go north over Canada and reach the Pacific Ocean without having to go around South America. The Erebus was captained by Arctic explorer John Franklin, played by Ciarán Hinds, effectively a celebrity in the field of Arctic exploration. Terror was in turn captained by Francis Crozier. The true irony here is the thrust of Francis's character is his lack of belonging, due to Sir John being both a more accomplished Arctic explorer and English. Meanwhile, in real life, Francis had the curse of being skilled while being Irish.
It's already a colder year than last.
I've been to the Arctic, Francis.
On foot. And you nearly starved. Not all of your men returned. I say this with all due honor.
For God's sake, Francis.
There is a delicious interplay between Hinds and Harris when they play these more tense scenes, in which it becomes impossible to forget the fact that Hinds is an Irish actor playing a well-meaning but privileged nonetheless Englishman, while Harris is an English actor playing a put-upon Irishman. In true colonial fashion, the expedition immediately screws things up, and an incredibly important native man dies while in their care. This angers something spiritual in the Arctic wastes, now left unchecked because the dead man is the person who is keeping nature in balance. This is where the horror of the Terror truly kicks in, as something older than the concept of humanity itself is specifically targeting the Franklin expedition, and now they're icebound and can't go anywhere. In the real world, the crew ran out of options and tried to walk south. Tragically, some even made it as far as the beaches of northern Canada. I won't spoil anything about The Terror, but what I will say is both the novel this season is based on and the TV adaptation take direct inspiration from this Edwin Landseer painting. Man proposes, God disposes. For all humanity's efforts to force itself on the world, nature cannot be bested. Let's talk about Happy's Humble Burger Farm, and yes, I promise the third game I recommend today will not be a first-person job simulator like these first two. Anyway, Happy's Humble Burger Farm is a first-person job sim horror game where you take your nameless character to work for the titular restaurant. You cook, prep, and serve food in a burger joint, go home, and do it again the next day. Except, you work the night shift, and things get horror-y at the night shift. And it increases the more shifts you work. And then when you start exploring the city, you'll start learning more about the plot surrounding this suspicious restaurant corporation, up to and including an early boss fight where a giant pig spits acid at you while you cook and hurl burgers into its mouth. There is comedy to the game, but it's definitely more reliant on using the actual horror tools of mega popular meme games. It has comedic moments, but it's not necessarily a functioning comedy all the time. It has a distinct, small developer, intentionally grungy aesthetic that conveniently also makes things really easy to texture. Most bespoke assets have really chunky, almost PlayStation 1-esque geometry without actually trying to commit to a PS1 horror vibe. I never fully finished Happy's Humble Burger Farm. I can't attest to the end of the plot or if things get problematique after what I stopped at, but it is a good vibe and a fun time for this time of year, even from what I've played. The most obscure podcast I'll recommend of the three, and all the more reason you should try it out. Munchen, Minnesota is a show about a small mill town, unsurprisingly, in Minnesota. It's autumn and something supernatural and weird is infesting the town. The good news is Munchen has a slayer. The bad news is it's a middle-aged gay dad trying to keep his life from falling apart.
Where's the okra? Hand me the okra. Raul, no, not in the kitchen. Never in the kitchen.
You're never in the kitchen. Never in the bedroom. Where then? In the mailbox.
And quit with the cumin. Right? You put too much cumin in.
There's a charm to the overall feel of Munchen that feels like everyone involved understands how silly and just how serious Munchen needs to be at the right times.
I'd invite you over, but Steve's got a teenage daughter who watches my every move, so...
Well, I may know of a certain teenager-free zone not too far from here.
Do you now?
You might say it's Munchen's best-kept secret.
What the... What was that?
God! This must have been a cat.
Yeah, a cat.
Here, take my keys. I'm a little drunk.
Just a cat.
I would say Munchen, Minnesota doesn't get above can't listen to this with 10-year-olds level scary at any point. So if you're a parent looking for something kid-friendly this Halloween that isn't cloyingly kid-targeting and audio only, Munchen might just be a good annual listen for the family. Okay, so I love this one, but nobody broke kayfabe and explained to me the premise of this movie, so I quit 29 minutes in last year and only came back to finish it this year out of a sort of guilt. As you can see by the fact I own the Steelbook, that second viewing went pretty well. One Cut of the Damned is a horror movie from the perspective of a cameraman who's on set of a cheap indie zombie movie. Camera keeps rolling after a take and never stops, as actual zombies appear and start attacking the cast and crew. What follows is a small group of actors and crew fighting for their lives, slowly picked off by zombies one by one until one remains. This takes 30 minutes, and it sucks. Yes, this is a recommendation for this movie. hang with me. That 30 minutes is a weird watch, with actors seemingly making things up on the spot, camera shots lingering far too long on something boring, or action happening off screen and being described by the actors. You might notice the runtime of the movie is a little longer than 30 minutes. This is where we get to the spoiler section. Skip to the next chapter or this time code if you want to be unspoiled, but please remember that this first 30 minutes, without context, was enough to make me quit just before things got good. So even if I'm not spoiling you yet, just know things get good, and you have to watch the first 30 minutes. Alright, ready? Here comes the spoilers. So that first 30 minutes is, in actuality, an in-universe recording of One Cut of the Damned, an experimental half-hour movie in which everything was done in one take while being live-streamed on a new zombie-focused TV channel. Director Takayuki Higurashi, played by Takayuki Himatsu in real life, is known for cranking out cheesy dramas quickly and effectively, and he's chosen for this gig. He's quickly stuck with an idle actor fresh off a Magical Girl series, a spoiled pretty boy who doesn't take direction, and a drunk director of photography. I understand why, if you're trying to make this movie, you would organize things like that, where viewers see the 30 minutes they produced first. It's infinitely funnier to then see the behind-the-scenes antics leading up to the movie and watch the pins fall into place, explaining all of those little weird moments you experienced during the first 30 minutes. But as somebody who quit just before the big reveal, I would have appreciated at least knowing there was a big reveal and not just an hour more of god-awful zombie movie coming. Take it from me, as somebody who went out of their way to buy the Steelbook on eBay because I just want to have a copy of it now, this is a fun watch. Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. You know I'm gonna sing the praises of one of my favorite anime put out in the last 10 years. Holy crap, Zom 100 is amazing. It's one of those projects that's equal parts goofy and 110% sincere. I walk away from the first season feeling better about humanity and have an idea of hope. It's a rejuvenating show to watch. That said, there is a pretty dour pilot you gotta get through to get there, but it is intentional. Akira Tendo is fresh out of college, and he's stuck in an incredibly toxic job at a marketing firm. His work-life balance is bad by Japanese standards, and that's frickin' saying something. He's barely living life. He sleeps in an apartment full of trash because it doesn't have the time or motivation to take it out. And then a zombie apocalypse hits, and a switch flips in his head. Akira sees the zombie apocalypse as his opportunity to actually live life to its fullest before the inevitable happens. He makes a bucket list of 100 things he wants to do before turning into a zombie. Along the way, he collects a group of friends, including a failed stand-up comedian, a control freak learning to improvise and not obsess over pure efficiency, and Beatrix. She's a good joke on paper. The premise is she's a German college graduate who happened to be obsessed with anime and Japanese culture, and the zombie apocalypse happens just as she's visiting Japan on her once-in-a-lifetime vacation.
If we can't sit and eat at a nice sushi restaurant, then I'd rather become a zombie!
I feel like the bit is that the show is trying to make the huge boobed fan service character a self-aware joke about fan service by making her a cringy weeaboo. Yes, you get tons of almost nudity and side boob shots, but it's also this German stereotype saying cringy anime-y things, like it's trying to make the people who are actively watching for the boobs feel bad about watching her. I really like Zom 100, I want to make that perfectly clear. I just also argue that Ruri Rocks is doing something similar by giving Ruri basically one boob bounce moment per episode to trick horny teens into watching a show that's actually obviously, teaching them geology. I think Beatrix wants to be as effective as a plot device as Ruri, but the bit doesn't stick the landing, so in the end, she's just literal, actual big tibby fan service. Still, it's an amazing show with a lot of heart, a lot of optimism, and the visuals of it are gorgeous, with all the zombies having sort of fun run colors to their various biles and goos, so that the world literally has more color to it for Akira once he's free of that god-awful job. This is truly an all-timer video game, but I feel like it kind of flew under the radar if you weren't paying attention to specific video game influencers back in 2017. In short, the Sexy Brutale is a puzzle game where you're an attendee of a masquerade ball in a giant mansion, except you stumble across a murder plot and are killed yourself, only to be brought back. Now, whenever the clock strikes midnight, it rewinds to the start of the day. I love a good time loop, and the Sexy Brutale has a great take on time loop gameplay. The rules are simple. You can interact with rooms and items while a room is empty, but you cannot actually go into rooms while people are in them, because the magic keeping the time loop going will send the mask of whoever you're bumping into to get you. It's a little creepy. As you begin to learn the patterns of where everyone's moving around the mansion at what times, you start to unlock different clocks that will let you adjust the time and restart the day in different areas, as well as grow the powers of your own mask. You begin to peel back layers of mystery surrounding what's happening. The gameplay's fun, the puzzles are rarely frustrating, and the writing is just present enough to make you care about these masked characters you're saving from certain doom. The year is 2151. Supercorporations constantly wage war in the asteroid belt over mining rights to resource-rich hunks of rock hurtling through the void. The Corvus, a sister ship of the Hyacinth, has been kidnapped and is now being held ransom by a competitor corporation. Desperate to save the crew of friends being held hostage, the crew of the Hyacinth decides to chase down a promising asteroid and mine it quickly, using proceeds from that to free Corvus even without the corporation's help.
Control to Finch.
Hey.
Hey, Clever. How's the anchor?
Holding fine.
Okay, good.
Should I be concerned?
I don't know. Grissom's auto-release failed despite an inspection from station.
So the thing was supposed to break, and it didn't.
Yep. Is the rock shifting at all?
Meh. One this big wouldn't be affected by the squealer much.
Alright, well, keep an eye on it.
But you're so handsome.
Finch.
Over 7 tense episodes of hard sci-fi horror, we find out that in addition to the Hyacinth already being on the brink of falling apart due to deferred maintenance and just bad corporate ownership, the usual dangers of working in space have something else going against them. There's something wrong with this asteroid. Should have done social media posts telling people, hey, the thing's about to start, because it is a live event, so I should probably do that. See you in chat. Exclamation mark. It's out there, yeah! I lied about the time, but who cares? Ganna won't care. She'll comment on something and be like, oh, you lied about the time, I'm unsubscribing, and then maybe even ban me from her server as a bit. Who knows? We'll see. Who knows? This jubilation could change my entire outlook on life. Really? No. Food has been acquired. I left the camera in the car, so you're going with me like this, but we might make it. We might be on time. If I had the time, I'd do the whole thing where I get out of the car, pretend to get into it for the first time and all that. But I got the food. I'll take phone pictures of it because we gotta go.
If you're in here working, you're not alone.
We are getting ready to do our very first paranormal investigation on a steam engine train. What the hell was that, dude?
A few moments later.
Somebody just whistled?
These whistling sounds are not paranormal.
Oh my God, Jay. It's the damn cat.
It's the damn cat's dirt.